All right, so welcome to TAM Lab number 4. We're going to be going through the vRA 7.5 deployment via the vRealize Suite Lifecycle Manager. And we have about an hour to do this. We're not going to see it actually complete because once you officially get through essentially the kickoff with the Lifecycle Manager, it does take a while to do it, but we'll go through all the stuff to get it to that point, and then we'll just assume that it finishes properly. So let me jump over here. Can you guys see my screen okay?
Yep.
Yep.
All right. So first step, let me just kind of explain what I've got. We're going to be doing a minimal install of vRA, so that includes a single IaaS server, which is Windows, in this case, Server 2016. I have a SQL server, SQL 01. These are both brand new VMs, so this doesn't even have SQL on it, so we'll go through that real quick. And then the vRA appliance itself will be deployed via Lifecycle Manager. So first step, I'm going to log into SQL, and I'm going to start that install. That resolution is really tiny, isn't it? Let's do this.
She may have to kill it.
There we go. All right, so before I do anything, I need to attach the SQL ISO, which I should have. I didn't verify that. So we'll do SQL Server 2016. Okay.
So now this is a prerequisite for Lifecycle Manager?
This is a prerequisite for vRA. You have to have SQL.
Oh, for vRA, got it.
Yep. So let's go here. Before I install, I'm going to start the download of the management tools. They used to bundle this, and now they just send you here. So I'll download this, and of course I don't have that turned on. Okay, so that's downloading. And while that's downloading, let's go, oh, before I do that, I need to add, I'm going to install this with a service account, so I'm going to add that as a local admin here. So do this. I already have an AD account for it. SQL SVC. Okay. So now let's install SQL Server. I'm going to skip that, otherwise it's going to want to do a bunch of updates. Firewall, that's fine for now. I'll turn that off later before we do the install. So in this case, we only want the database engine. We don't need any of these other features. And I think I just have a single C drive here, so I'm just going to put it on that. Not a best practice. Typically, you would break that out.
Sure.
Right. Have a separate SCSI controller, all that sort of thing.
Yeah.
Does it run if they have like a shared SQL server? You can just use the database on that server? You don't have a dedicated SQL server?
Yeah, you can absolutely do that. The only thing is it also requires Microsoft Distributed Transaction Coordinator, or DTC. So if that's not turned on, that would need to be turned on.
Okay.
But usually that is turned on, so. All right, service accounts. I'm going to use my service account. And the password. Set this automatic. And the browser's fine to be disabled. Collation is all good. Can leave that. Next. So I'm going to do mixed mode. So I have the SA password. And I'm going to add me. I'm going to add SQL. And I'm going to add, I have an IaaS, or I'm sorry, I have a vRA service account as well. So I'm going to make that a local admin, or a SQL admin here, because it will go and create the database during the installation. Everything else should be fine. Yeah, click next. Install.
Now, in reviewing like the Lifecycle Manager installation docs or anything, does it call out that this is a prerequisite for vRA? Or would we expect that customers might assume that it would be a part of the vRA install from Lifecycle Manager? I'm just trying to think of, how to
Yeah,
expect, what the customers would see.
so this would not be part of the install through Lifecycle Manager. A SQL Server is required separately. It does have the ability to leverage a Windows ISO to actually deploy your IaaS server if you didn't
Okay.
want to spin up the VM outside of that.
Sure.
I think this is admin at localhost. Yeah. So if you come into settings here, you can do product binaries, and you can do an ISO binary. I don't believe you can deploy SQL through this.
Got it. Okay.
Separate prerequisite. But we can start doing this. So I have a login site. I'm just going to create a new environment altogether. So let me back up. So data centers, first of all, I've got my one data center here in Elk Grove. And within that, I have a vCenter, right? So that's already connected. Here's my existing environment. I'm going to create a new one. I've only got the one data center. This will be production, we'll say, environment name. Typically, you would do an environment mapped to like production, dev test, staging, that sort of thing.
Mm-hmm.
And then you would have all the products deployed within those environments. But in this case, I'm just going to do a separate one just for vRA. So we'll call this production vRA. Default password. This is going to be basically the password for all the products you deploy in this environment. I'll leave the CEIP turned on. Click next. And now here's where we can choose which products we want to actually deploy or import. If you've already got existing environments, you can import them into here. So I'm going to be doing vRA, and it's a new install. We're going to do 7.5, and I'm going to do small. So we'll click next. And we're going to read all this EULA. Agree. Click next. License key, I happen to have it right here. Click next. And we're going to choose my vCenter. I've only got the one cluster. I'm going to put it on this LAN network. My vCAN data store. We'll choose thin. NTP, I should already have some in here, so I'm just going to do my domain controllers.
Now these are something that you
Yeah.
preloaded. Yeah, cool.
Yep. Okay, actually, I want to change the order of that. No, that was right. There we go. Next, let me check on SQL real quick. It's almost done. All right, so default gateway. Main name is tilkins.local. I'll do the same thing for the search path. DNS, these are going to be my domain controllers. And mask. Next. Now the certificate, I'm going to save and exit here. We'll come back to it. I want to show you, I actually wrote a blog post about how to do this. So I have a certificate that I've signed with my Microsoft internal certificate authority. If you come into settings and you go to certificate, you can generate a CSR, and you can generate basically a SAN certificate or a subject alternative name. So what I did was I put all of the names of basically like VROPS, login site, vRA, my IaaS, everything that, so I can use the same certificate for all the vRealize products, right? So you generate the CSR, you take the CSR over to your domain controller or whatever's running certificate services, and then you can get that cert and just import it. So that's what this blog is about. So I already have this one here. As you can see, it was issued by my domain controller DC02. That's running certificate services. And it's got, like I said, VROPS, login site, vRA, IaaS, and VRB. So this is the cert I'm going to use, and it'll push it out to both my IaaS, my vRA, and it'll use it for the proxy agents and all that. So actually, before I go back to that, looks like SQL finished. So I'm going to start the management tools. You don't have to install the Management Studio. In fact, I don't think it's recommended to run it on the SQL Server itself because it's kind of a pig from a resource perspective. It's usually better to run it local and then just connect to it. But I'm on a Mac, so that's not going to happen.
Well, you know, as long as you don't keep it running and you just use it to validate something, maybe it's probably fine.
Yeah. Oh. Is it not even going to ask me for anything? Okay, well, that's going. I'm going to do a couple other steps here. So because I deployed both my IaaS and SQL Server from the same VM template, I've heard that there can be issues regarding Microsoft DTC. Like you need to uninstall it and reinstall it because there's like a conflict, almost like a security identifier sort of thing. So, so I'm going to uninstall Microsoft DTC from both of these, which I think I just do from a command line as administrator. Okay, so that's that. I do need to reboot, so I'll have to wait till this Management Studio finishes, but I can do it on my IaaS server. All right. I'll reboot IaaS. And then I'll need to reboot SQL after this as well. So if we go back to Lifecycle Manager, I should be able to resume this where I left off. So I'm going to use that cert, like I said, and it has everything in it. I'll click Next. And now we're going to actually get into the details of the vRA components themselves. So Windows username. So this is going to be the service account that it's going to be running under. So I did Tilkins vRA SVC. It's already got my NTP. I'm not doing a cluster, and I'm not configuring the Windows server, so that should be good. So this is going to be the primary vRA VM. So I'm just going to name it vRA. The host name will be vra.tilkins.local. And I have IPs set aside for all these. Database. This is SQL01.tilkins.local. 10.10.90.49. And then this wants to know the Windows VM name as it exists over in vCenter. So it's SQL 01. Now, in a production environment with a customer, you'd probably split out some of these IaaS components, right? The web, the dem worker, and then the manager. But in this case, we're just going to put them all in the same IaaS server. So these three next pieces will pretty much be the same thing. So this will be IaaS.tilkins.local. 1090.37, and this is IaaS. See. The dem orchestrator name, we'll just leave that as the default. And then the proxy agent, again, this will be the IaaS hostname. The only caveat with this is it doesn't allow you to set the name of the proxy agent. It's just going to be, I forget what the default is. It's like proxy agent, or it's like proxy vSphere or something like that. So you may want to come in after the fact and rename it so it matches your vCenter name, but not a big deal. Next. And before I run the pre-check, we got a few more things to do. So this is still installing. My IaaS should be back up though. So I'm going to go into component services. I need to configure MSDTC. There's a couple options we need to change, which I actually probably need to reinstall it first. Yeah, it's not there. So go back to our command prompt. Great. Did I refresh?
Go to action.
Did I miss it?
There at the top.
Oh, there
Refresh
we go.
all components.
No? Maybe I need to reboot. Oh, there it is. Okay. So you come into component services, you drill down to my computer, local PC, right click and go to properties. And then in here you go over to security, and we're going to turn on network DTC and allow remote administration, allow inbound and outbound. And that should do it. We'll have to do this on the SQL Server as well. All right, so SQL Management Studio is installed. It needs to reboot. It's interesting, I installed SQL Server itself and it didn't need to reboot, but the management components it did.
Just a sec.
Okay, SQL's back up. And I can unmount that SQL ISO.
Do you need to install MS DTC?
Yeah.
And again, this is due to how you deployed the VMs, correct? Like if a different customer, I mean, like this is because you used a template.
Yep, exactly.
Okay. I mean, that's very likely what other customers would run into as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly. All right, so that is configured and restarted. So that's good. I'm just taking notes here, making sure I got everything. I did that. All right, so the other couple more things here. I'm going to go to computer management. I'm going to add the vRA service account as a local admin on both of these. I don't know if it needs it on the SQL, but I'm just going to do it anyways. vRA. Okay, I'll do it on IaaS. Okay, I'm going to disable the firewall. Probably don't want to do this with a customer. You would want to just open up what you need, but actually a lot of customers just have the Windows firewall turned off too, so. Okay. And then on the IaaS box specifically, I need to turn off UAC or user account control. And I think that requires a reboot. Okay. So SQL should be good. Let me double check. Where is the management studio? Probably under tools. Yeah. Okay, IaaS is back up. Make sure SQL looks good. I just want to verify the security. Shouldn't be any databases. And we've got SQL, SVC, vRA, SVC. So we should be good. So I do want to take snapshots of these, just in case. Okay. So we're good. There's one other thing I need to do on IaaS, but if I proceed here, there should be, yeah, this right here, this download script. There's a script, that's what this is, the pre-check script, essentially, that you run it on IaaS and it just does some additional things. So let's go here. IaaS script, where are you? Here we go. I'm gonna copy that here. Unpack that. And the one I want is this mandatory pre-check script, which is a PowerShell script. So let's open up PowerShell. I want to run mandatory pre-check script.ps1. So it turned off IPv6. It disabled UAC even though I did that already. And now it just wants to reboot. So one more reboot. Okay. And that's it. So now I'll wait till that comes up and then we'll run the pre-check and that should finish. And then we can officially kick it off. All right. So this can take a few minutes. So this would be a little bit more complicated in a larger production environment because we would be doing HA, so we'd have multiple vRA appliances, multiple IaaS servers, and we would need load balancers in front of those. So definitely a little bit more involved. But for a lab, this should be pretty straightforward. So this second part here, it's actually doing stuff now on the IaaS server. So I'm actually going to pause the recording. Uh-oh, no, never mind. What failed? LCM agent binaries upload failed. I haven't seen that one. Be a lab or a demo if something didn't go wrong, right? Okay, so it's saying check the request tab. LCM agent upload. Huh.
Windows firewall, possibly?
Yeah, possibly. Let's double check that. I thought I turned it off though.
Oh, did you turn it off for SQL?
I thought I did.
Okay.
Double check. Disk space looks fine. We can retry. It's off on IaaS.
Okay. That's where we should be putting it, is IaaS, right?
Yeah. I'll check SQL too. Yeah. Well, let's retry. I think you can go back home, resume, and let's make sure all this looks right. vRA SVC, array. Yeah. That's 49. $36. Obviously, I can't ping it because it's not there yet. 37. Yeah. It's fine. Huh. It all looks good. Well, let's rerun it and see what we get. I'm going to pause the recording while it's doing this.
Yep.
So it failed again. And before we're rerunning it, we noticed this Windows user profile existence check. I think that's what the problem is. So we haven't logged into IaaS as that vRA service account. So I'm going to try that, and then maybe that'll resolve the issue here. Other user. Oop.
And I was looking for a specific directory as well.
Yeah, I think it's just within that user's profile. So if you never logged in, there is no profile.
Okay. Wasn't sure if we needed to create that actual directory or.
I think this will do it.
Okay.
So that's good. Now I'm going to sign out. And let's try it again. I'm going to pause. So we clicked on the requests here, and we're tracking this request, and we can see each one of these steps. If you click on them, what it's trying to do. And what it was right here was uploading the LCM agent. And it actually updated or uploaded. So looks like logging in as that server's account was what it needed before we ran the pre-check. So now it's continuing on. So I should be able to go.
That's a very handy screen, though.
Yeah. Okay, we're back to this. I think I'm going to go back to that request, though, because you're right. It's way more detail.
It is a little funky, though, especially you see 7, 9, 10, 8.
Mm-hmm. Must be a potential spot to skip.
Oh, could be, yeah, because we see that on the next one. 1, 3, 4, 2.
Validating the agent upload.
Just waiting for it to go live.
Or maybe it's doing these in parallel.
Well, at least we made progress through.
Yeah, it's good to see it moving forward. I hope this finishes in the next 10 minutes because I want to actually kick it off. And then we'll complete the session here. But it should be installing IIS. Which it has.
Yeah.
At least, I mean, it installed the service. So it shouldn't take too long.
Oh, 100%.
Excellent.
So could you are you able to scroll to the left of that graphic and see how long it took for each of those steps? So that took almost 5 minutes.
That was real quick.
Yeah.
6 seconds, 18 seconds. That one was the big one. I think that's when it installs all those components. Our IIS. This one shouldn't take long because this is just the vRA piece, which it won't actually deploy the appliance until we officially say go.
I really do like this request tracker thing here.
You cut out. I'm sorry, I didn't hear what you said.
Oh, yeah, apologize. I do like this request tracker utility. It gives a lot of great detail on what it's actually doing.
Yeah.
And you don't have to stay on the previous screen, and it's easy to return to. So
yeah. Recheck command. Should be almost done. Well, this step is taking longer than I thought. CPU is working hard. I need more memory in my hosts. Maybe I should have given it more CPU. 2 and 6.
Hmm.
Well,
Well, at least we see it pegged, so we know it's working and it's not waiting for
yeah.
a timeout or something.
We're at 11 o'clock. I can keep going for another half hour. But if you guys need to drop, that's cool. It shouldn't take too much longer.
Yeah, no, I can stick around for that time.
Okay.
I can do a few more, but I can also watch it when you guys are done too.
Yeah. There's literally, once this finishes, and I'm going to go click install, and then we won't have time to watch that complete, but we'll just assume it finishes and we should be good.
So have you tried this with importing an existing environment?
I have done that for VROPS and Log Insight, but never vRA.
Okay. Does it do similar checks? Or does
Yeah.
it assume it's up and running? So
Well, we can go through the motion. So I've got this one environment. I can add a product. I have a VROPS that I can import. Basically, all it wants to know is the root password, IP address. If I know that, that's crazy. Yep. And that's basically it.
then it goes and pulls all the information.
So
Got it.
yeah. So this is all predefined in my the environment.
Yep.
Here it's just going to import it, right? I'm not going to do it right now.
No.
It should go pretty quick, actually.
Okay.
So let's see where we're at with this guy. Same spot.
Still pegged.
Still pegged. I'll pause the recording for a minute.
Yep.
Oh, no way, it failed. Agent services stopped.
Oh no, it stopped at generating a report.
Let's take a look. One failed. Memory.
Oh no.
8 gig. Okay, well, I can fix that. In fact, I think I got hot plug enabled, so I should be able to do it on the fly. And while I'm at it, I'll add more memory too. Okay, done.
Now, if you look back at the request, how long did it take to get to this point? Oh,
This one. So it took,
it was like 5 minutes for step 3.
yeah, forget these two. 5 minutes, 15, so 20 minutes.
With your reduced CPU count. Okay, so call it
Yeah.
hopefully less than 20 minutes to get back.
Yeah, so let's, well, it shouldn't have to do any of that stuff again because it already installed
Oh, IIS.
and all
Yeah.
that. Which one? This one. We'll see. We'll give it another shot. All right, so good to know you need to have at least 8 gigs of memory.
And I hope
that's
that would check the infrastructure validation.
Yeah, right?
That's okay.
All right, this should go quick.
Could you go back to the request real quick? What was that little play?
This is to resume.
After a failure,
Oh, I should have done that. They wouldn't have had to do all that other stuff.
potentially.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't see that. It would have
And we
been
didn't.
real quick.
There's a different failure below that did not have a play button after it. At least from here, it looks like. So.
Yeah.
Oh well.
Huh. Well, we'll see how long this takes. I think I have a meeting at 11:30. Let's see. Yeah, but that's okay. I got a few minutes. Is this not progressing or what?
Oh, there it goes. Oh, that was you moving it. Yeah. Okay. So this is one that took about 5 minutes.
Yeah, I'm hoping this goes much faster. Doesn't need to upload the agent and all that other stuff. It's just there. Yeah, see that it skipped over all that.
Oh my gosh, it did. That's great.
I should have just clicked resume, but that's okay.
Oh, that's much quicker.
Yeah. Failed again. I wonder if this is where I actually just have to come in and say resume. Reboot pending. I added memory, but I didn't reboot it. All right.
Oh my, okay.
Well, we definitely learned some things.
Yeah.
That's the whole point, I guess. All right, it's rebooted. Let's go back to requests and just resume. Maybe it won't make me do it all. It looks like it does, though.
Hmm.
All right.
That doesn't get as much.
Yeah, it didn't take too long, though, that last time. I thought I could squeeze this into an hour. And if I had the right memory and I had logged in as that user beforehand,
You may have been able
I
to.
probably would have been able to. It's not my personal best. All right. Step 1 is done. Step 2 should be done here in a second. All right. All right. Last step. Hey, I think we're good finally.
Okay.
So let's resume. Pre-check completed successfully. Click next. The only thing I would recommend here is to download this config. It'll spit out a JSON file. That way, you won't have to. If you wanted to redo this again someday, you won't have to re-input all the values, right? So that's it. I'm going to click submit, and now it should actually be deploying everything.
Now there was a when you hit submit, there was a little checkbox that says rerun prerequisites.
Oh, I should have unchecked that.
No, just no. Yeah, it's gonna do some of those again. It shouldn't take too long, right?
Yeah, it shouldn't.
So I guess the adjustments you made, log in as the IaaS service account.
Yeah. Have enough memory.
8 gigs of memory for, was it the IaaS machine?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was pretty much it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was really it.
And then MS DTC, although you knew about that one.
Yeah. So at this point, I mean, this is going to take a good at least half hour to an hour to deploy because it's going to spin up the vRA appliance and all that, which it's not even there yet. But
Yeah. It's all SQL.
yeah, but I'll let you know how it goes, and then when I post the recording, I'll specify whether it completed or not successfully.
Very cool.
Alrighty. Well, thanks for joining.
No problem. Thanks for doing it.
All right. Have a good one.
All right, you too. Thanks.
Bye.